to the Pitch Pod. My name's Joe Janner. With us is your host. Welcome, Jeff. How you doing? You staying cool? You're not melting out there?
It's pretty warm where Joe and I are currently located in the Midwest. So, yeah, it's pretty warm. Yeah, and doing my best to stay cool, but I think we're almost through it. So we'll make it through, Joe.
Got it. Yes. It has I think they mentioned record breaking, but we'll get through. We're here to discuss, review the previous matches we covered in our last episode. We talked a little bit about Spurs versus Manchester United. We talked about Women's World Cup. Maybe start right there, Jeff, right? We have a result for the Women's World Cup. Took place Spain. Congratulations on winning 1-0. Any thoughts, any ideas regarding that match? I don't think that either one of us got the pick, but anything to cover over that match?
You know, I did predict England to win in a close match, but no, that's Spain's a powerhouse. We knew they'd be able to compete, and they showed up. They were the better team that day. Hats off to them. They have some great individual players, and this was their year. So I'm just happy for Spain and all the people that got to view it and enjoy the match. So yeah, hats off to Spain. That was their game. They earned it. So yeah.
I'd agree. Definitely a good final. I think it's good showing for not only both those countries and teams and the respective players within, but also the whole competition. I think lent itself to being very competitive, and I think to have Spain win in that fashion and go ahead and go through as the winner, I think it does lend itself to people being very excited about the next contest. It will involve all the international, both men's and women's, something to be excited about.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think we have to go back again. Not big of the heat. I can tell you this: Pitch Pod hasn't been too hot in terms of our predictions. Jeff, I know that I think we both missed the Spurs versus Manchester United in Spurs winning 2-0. I don't know. Did we either one of us pick Spurs to win, or did we miss it completely again?
We missed it completely. We'll put that out there. But I will just add a note. I didn't predict Man U to win. I had a 2-2 draw. So, I saved a little face there. But no, you're right. Tottenham came out, and both you and I were inaccurate with our prediction once again. Yes.
And that's maybe the theme early on, and that's okay, right? I mean, prior seasons we've done well. Maybe or just early on, just like any other team, just trying to figure out how we're putting this together. Maybe our listeners are going, well, whatever Joe's saying, whatever Jeff's saying, maybe go the other way. So maybe there's value in still watching and tuning in, right? I don't want to discount us again. It's early, not to make too many excuses, but I think maybe this is the week that we hit it, man. This is maybe the week that we hit it there. Before we get in there, I will say I think maybe the question is it so much that Spurs is playing well, or is it Manchester United not so well or poorly? I mean, is that maybe the question worth addressing?
I think that is a good question, and I think it's a little bit of both, right? I think the Spurs are showing some good signs, and I think this is a season where they have good opportunities in front of them, and they have some major changes to their lineups and major changes in terms of their coaching staff. But I think I would be optimistic if I'm a Spurs fan for this season. In terms of Man U, there's some questions, and obviously not the result they wanted this match. Obviously, they kind of just went through the motions. They still won their other match prior to this one, but it's not looking great. So I think there are some questions there that we can talk about. But what are your initial thoughts on Tottenham, Joe?
You got to be excited about this midfielder star that they have. I think he's become fan favorite. He's producing. I mean, you maybe give him a look and go, how does this guy compete at this level? I mean, they have to be harsh in terms of individual evaluations, but he's shown up and he's adding a contributing factor to their performance and helping with them be a dynamic, attacking, possession-based side that it looks like, as you suggested, could have a good run this season and could provide a challenge to most teams that face, especially at home. And so I think that's going to be something that we look forward to see how they if and how they continue to do well.
Yeah, he was kind of my player in the match as well. No, he didn't score a goal, but he was just constantly facilitating, constantly giving Man U problems. So yeah, Son as well. He was my player of the match as well. He did great.
Yeah, like I said, it'd be interesting to see how they do. Now we're not looking at Spurs, we're not looking at Manchester United this upcoming weekend, and we are still looking and focusing on the English Premier League. I think we had probably the pick. I mean, I don't, we don't. Sometimes we go with what's obvious. Sometimes we like to go the other direction. I think this one's just well worth looking into. Spend the time. Newcastle versus Liverpool. Jeff, any initial insights on this match of the week for the pitch fight? Anything you'd like to suggest? Or anything that we should definitely address in this one?
Well, I think you have two really quality teams going at it, and Liverpool is another team, kind of like Man U, where I think there are some questions that need to be looked at throughout the season and evaluated on an ongoing basis. But overall, not a whole lot of insight on this match other than two quality teams playing at Newcastle, and it's a big match for both of them to set the momentum, set the tone for the rest of the season. So I think it's going to be a big match in terms of momentum.
I agree. Talk about having to answer some questions. Talk about something that could really change the face of what this contest and moving forward for Liverpool is whether Mohamed Salah continues on it. There's been the offer, and it's almost more than likely it's going to be an occurrence. I don't know. Either way, that's got to talk about again. If there weren't already questions, here's another question mark: who's going to fit into that role and play his position there if he's absent, if he does move on to another club outside of the league. So that's some of it for me. I'm looking at, wondering, are we by Sunday, by kickoff, is he still a part of this team? Is he going to be selected? I think, obviously, if he is, he's going to be selected and will start. It can be a significant factor. Mm-hmm. At Newcastle, it's going to be a tough contest. I think, we've seen Newcastle being pretty consistent and having good performances carried over from last season. So I think this is really definitely a match to be really excited about.
Yeah, and I should say, before we do predictions, I did factor him in the lineup and starting. And yeah, he's a great dynamic striker. So I should just get that out of the way and mention that I do have him in the lineup for this match at this point. Yeah.
And I do too. I think, how these things go, it could be stalled out a little bit, but we don't know. I am projecting that he still will be a part of the side come this weekend and we'll be there. Here's the thing. I don't know that even with him starting, even with him contributing, it's going to be quite enough to get them across the line for the win. I mean, if you're all right, Jim, I'm ready to make my prediction for the week.
Yeah, Joe, go ahead. Let's hear it.
And I don't know. Maybe just I'm trying to overthink it and play it and try to, represent the pitch pod, get one on the board, if you will, for a prediction. But I think it's fair. And I think it's in line with probably where we're going. And maybe, Jeff, you're already going to be there yourself. This is a draw. I think really for this phase of the season, I think Liverpool to go to Newcastle, get a draw would be a great result for them. Not probably where they'd like to be as much as they'd like to get the win. But I just, what Newcastle provides in opposition at home is going to be a tough task. I mean, for anybody really in this competition at this point. And so that's not to say that Liverpool's going to get shut out. Not to say that there's going to be them without the opportunity. So I think it's going to be exciting back and forth contest. That's what I'm really hoping and really looking forward to. Really solid back and forth contest, maybe one on one from one team, one to the other, to end 2-2. I have this. My prediction is Newcastle 2, Liverpool 2 this upcoming match. Jeff?
Well, first of all, I think that's a fair prediction. I agree with your analysis. That makes sense to me. And I honestly, at this phase in the season, if Liverpool can pull that off away against a quality team, I think that's okay. I'm going to go with I do think one team's going to emerge the victor. I think having home field is such an advantage in the EPL. Newcastle, they're a solid club. Who knows? Maybe this is Newcastle's year. Maybe they just break out and finish top 3, top 4. Who knows? But I'm going to go with Newcastle winning this one. I do think it's going to be a close game, as you mentioned, with a lot of back and forth, a lot of counterattacks. I'm going to go Newcastle winning this one 2-1.
I think it's something you almost alluded to or mentioned. I think what I like to see or what I've been observing in Newcastle, I think that's a team with an identity and a clear understanding of what they're doing and how they're going to do it. Even even to the point of having a better understanding of when and who is coming off the bench. We're rather starting with the starters, how those key players are going to come in off the bench. You talk about a Wilson as coming in, being able to be at the late or within the second half. If he doesn't start, being something like, well, there's a goal from Newcastle possible. So maybe, Jeff, if that's going to be the way it goes, maybe whether it be the 2-2 or whether it be the 2-1, you're in favor of your prediction. Maybe I want to go a little bit further and say Wilson comes in as he's got a goal and him to score in this next one.
Okay.
Just as a bonus. Just a bonus prediction.
If Salah is playing, does Salah get a goal?
With the Heat as it is and the Heat being on the pitch pod, yep, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, again, I will go there. If Salah is in the lineup and he starts, he will score. To add to the drama, to add to the, wait a minute, do we want to let this guy go? Or wait a minute, his value that he's being assessed at overseas out of the league could be even that much more verified. So I'm going to go there. Yeah, I think that, I'll give you that one as well. We'll just go for the Heat is on the pitch pod, Jeff.
Well, Joe's got some big, bold predictions there. So thank you, Joe. I can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully everyone out there gets a chance to tune in and enjoy the match. Thank you so much for watching. If you would, please like and subscribe. It's the best way to support us here at the Pitch Pod. And as always, keep pitching out there, everyone.
In a game, the round ball, round posts, anything can happen.